At the end of the last video, we finally downloaded and installed MSys2, a whole bunch of useful stuff, and of course the GNU compiler collection, which was the main object of the video. In this video, we'll actually start using the GNU compiler collection. In particular, we'll be looking at FORTRAN and the gfortran compiler. We'll just be looking at a very minimal number of FORTRAN commands just to write simple stuff to the screen, so you don't really have to learn any FORTRAN. The whole point is using the compiler. The thing being is that the GCC compiler, that is the GNU C compiler, and the C++ compiler, G++, work in exactly the same way. You more or less just replace gfortran when you compile with G++ or GCC. Anyway, here goes. Let's have a look at the GNU FORTRAN compiler, how to use it to compile a simple hello world kind of file, and the subsequent videos will be more complicated hello worlds, basically. So let's take a look. Well, I'm going to continue with the hell background because we're about to enter hello world.hell. What do I mean by that? The reason is because I'm not going to be teaching any FORTRAN. I'm just going to be flogging a hello world, a rather elaborate one, after a while, because it will have functions and subroutines. But yes, we'll be flogging hello world to death, as it were, and you'll get thoroughly sick of it. The other reason is, while we're actually in hello world hell, we're going to end up in a kind of DLL hell too. So I'm afraid Hieronymus Bosch will stay with us for a while yet. I also mentioned in the introduction was that I would pitch the level to somebody who's an absolute beginner or almost an absolute beginner. I hope I've actually managed that. The point being that you can always skip through things until you reach your own level. Well, you can see I've created a directory called gfort in my home directory, and the subdirectory of that is hello0, where I've typed in hello.f of FORTRAN program into Notepad. It's a sort of tradition that the very first program you write in any language says hello somehow. And this, believe it or not, is a FORTRAN program. The first thing is that there's a write statement and then a pair of parentheses with 2 stars in it. Where the first star goes is usually a number that tells it where to write, but a star in that position means just write to the standard output, which means in our case to the command tool. The second star, well, what could go in there is what's called a format statement, which tells the write function how to print out the data that it's going to write. But if you're not going to tell it how, it's called free format, and you just put a star there, and so you don't actually have to learn any formatting to at least write something to the screen. And then after the parentheses, there's what it's going to write. So I've said hello human. Now, to compile this into an executable using gfortran, all I have to do is invoke the FORTRAN compiler by typing gfortran, and then there's an option -o, which tells it that the next thing it encounters, which is going to be hell, is going to be the name of the output executable file. So this -o is for the output, and I'm going to call it hell, and then hello.f. Now if I do dir, you'll see that it's created hell.exe. If I'd have typed gfortran -o hello.f, which would be more common, that would be hello.exe. And if I'd have typed gfortran -o wendy hello.f, that would have been wendy.exe. You get the idea. Now, I'm the last person you want to learn Fortran from, because I'm an old Fortran 77 hack. Right, what I had before probably would be better written like this: program hello, end program hello. That's the usual style. Now, if we just recompile and then type hell, it says hello human again. So there you are, that's the very first hello program. This is hell.exe. These weird characters will be binary. As well as the binary, there are sort of messages that you can read. But going back to the binary, what Notepad does is it reads in hell.exe. That is full of binary code, or has mostly binary code in it. But what Notepad does is it reads every byte, or 8 bits, and interprets it as a character. So that's why you get all these funny characters floating about, rather than ones and zeros when you examine a binary file. And as you can see, there's lots of stuff that isn't binary that you can read. But this is the thing that will run on your processor. Another way you can use gfortran is to do gfortran -c, and then the file name containing the Fortran code. Now if I do dir, you'll see that it's got something called hello.o. This is what's called an object file. Well, an object file contains binary information, which is again why you see these odd characters, but you can also see things that you can read, like data, text, and main. Now, sitting alongside the gfortran compiler is a linker. The linker can read an object file and then go away and build the binary code out of it to create the hell.exe binary code. But you can create just the object file on its own. If I just delete the executable, I can use gfortran in yet another way. Let's do hell again, but this time hello.o. This time the input to gfortran is the object file, and it invokes the linker to link with stuff again that you can't see to create hell.exe without actually even looking at the original Fortran. So once you've built the object file out of the original Fortran file, you can build the executable that way. Now, what might be a good idea is now to do gfortran --help, and then what you can see is what all the options are. So there you are, -o file, place the output into file. So these are the options you can use with gfortran there. The linker that is common to not just gfortran but GCC, the C compiler, and G++, the C++ compiler, is called LD. So if I do LD minus minus help and then have a look at that with Notepad, you can see all the options that you can use with the LD command. But quite often LD is actually called by the gfortran command for you, and you don't directly use LD. You can see there's an awful lot of options to the LD linker. So there we are. We have gfortran, the compiler, LD, the linker. We've got two help files now, which tells us what the options are, and we can build an object out of hello.f. We can build an executable directly out of hello.f, but we can also just create the object file hello.o and then use gfortran to create hell.exe without looking at Fortran. So let's have a brief summary. We've got our gfortran compiler, which we can use from the command line just by typing gfortran. We've got the linker LD, which is mostly called by gfortran. The linker puts stuff together, which is why it's called a linker. It links things together. Now, so one example of using gfortran was gfortran -o hello.f. That would generate hello.exe from the input code you typed into hello.f. It doesn't write out an object file. That doesn't mean it's not created as an intermediate step. It is. Now we can create an object file with gfortran -c hello.f, and that will automatically use the file name hello and have a .o extension on it for object. Quite often on Microsoft you will see .obj for object. And then you can do gfortran -o hello.o, and that will build hello.exe from the object file. What happens here is the linker uses the object file and links stuff that you don't even know about into it to generate the binary stuff. And finally, apart from remembering those things, remember to use your gfortran manual. You did download it, of course.